what's going on? I asked when I was leaving the room. We're just watching Mickey, said Dr. Morcassius on the couch. Where were Mom and Dad? I asked. In their room, said Dr. Morcassius. Sleeping? I asked. They were up late having fun, said Dr. Morcassius. That's probably why they're sleeping in today, said George. Not anymore, said my dad, leaving his bedroom. Did you sleep well? I asked. Yes, did you? Yes, did you? My dad answered and asked. Yep, I answered. What are you and Mom planning on doing between now and your sunset jog? Dr. Morcassius asked because I could tell he was desperate to solve these riddles by now. We need to worship the Lord, said our mother, leaving the room. Oh yeah, I forgot today was Sunday. How can you possibly forget that? Or Mom asked. Either way, please, I don't know, answered Dr. Morcassius. Either way, please help us turn the living room into the chapel, said our mother. It was 1 in the afternoon by the time we had the living room set to normal for more worship session. After that, I had lunch and I need to kill some time before my parents go on their jog. So I decided to go with Marcus to the grocery store, and after that, we got back to put the groceries away. And our parents said it was time for their jog. After that, we got straight down to business. My riddle comes first. We're going to solve mine first, said Dr. Morcassius, as we were entering my room and trying to solve the riddles once and for all. What was your riddle again? I asked. What is a synonym for the second idea? Answered Dr. Morcassius. May I make a suggestion? George asked. What? I asked. Well, when I need to think, you know what I do? George asked. What? I asked. I play with toys, said George. George then got out one of his toy bins. George, this is no time to play, said Dr. Morcassius. Before I made sense, with the rest of the conversation, George's toy bins were originally the boxes or ceiling fans came in. We have 3 ceiling fans. This was originally the box to the Minka Air Concept 2, which is the ceiling fan in our parents' room. Hold on, a sec. Concept 2? Hey George, you said your riddle was what is the synonym for the second idea? I asked. Yes, George answered. Get ready. George, get out those remaining 2 boxes, I ordered. George then did as I said. The other 2 boxes were the Hunter Eclipse, which is the shape of our room, and the Fanimation Enigma, which is in the living room. My riddle was the shape of the cover, and that is an eclipse. My riddle was what is synonym for the return, which has been sending us questions through what is a synonym, George asked. Two words meaning the same thing, I said. Is enigma a synonym for riddle, George asked. Yes, I answered. Yeah. Now I am sure that the return has been here inside Robbinsog, said Dr. Morcassius. George, I'm about to do something that will require you, I said. What is it, George asked. I then lifted George in the air so he was near the Hunter Eclipse ceiling fan in our room. Spin the blades and let me know if you find any paper in the globe light or on top of the blades, I said. George began spinning the blades. No, I don't see anything, said George. I'll handle the enigma. You handle the concept too, said Dr. Morcassius. We then went to our parents' room and checked the blades and took the light globe off, and then we found nothing. I have another idea, since we weren't able to find the clues, I said. What is it? George asked. This, I said. I then dumped all 3 toy bins out and bins out, and there were files being released. Files for Mortis came out in the Concept 2, files for me came out in the Eclipse, and files for George came out in the Enigma. Nice job, Sherlock, said Dr. Morcassius. It looks like a paper came with yours, I said, pointing at the ground. Let's read it, said Dr. Morcassius. Dear Mortis, Sam, and George, I am glad you found this when you did. Everything has been paid for by me since the end of October. If you found this before then, I would have left you notes about how you needed to come back here later. Sincerely, the return. Okay, now I am going to open mine. Dr. Morcassius then opened his files. What? Dr. Morcassius asked himself. What? I asked. This is 4 hotel reservations, each one night. One at the Westin in downtown Cincinnati, Ohio, for December 26th. One for the Hyatt in downtown Atlanta for December 27th. And one at the Red Roof Inn in Valdosta, Georgia for January 4th. And one at the Mammoth Cave Hotel at the National Park in Kentucky for January 5th, said Dr. Morcassius. What? I asked. It also says in the event of a date change, I should call a particular phone number, but we must stay at these hotels, said Dr. Morcassius. Now it's my turn to open. I then opened mine and out popped a map with directions. The map had spots numbered at 1 through 9, some of which were the hotels. It appears to be the route we are taking to a grandparents' house in Orlando before we go in December, except the return wants us to take a detour down in the normal way back up. The difference, George asked? When we usually go down, we usually take I-90 east to I-65 south all the way down to Nashville, and then we take I-24 east to Chattanooga, and then we take I-75 down to the Florida Turnpike, which is State Route 95 south into Orlando. Here, though, we get off I-65 in Indianapolis, and take I-74 east to Cincinnati, and take I-75 down from there. I explained. Time to open mine. George then opened his envelope. These are instruction cards numbered 1 through 9, said George. They must be instructions for what to do at each of these 9 places the return wants us to stop at, said Dr. Morcassius. Any idea on what this all means and what we are supposed to do with it? I asked. No, answered Dr. Morcassius. Sweet. Well, this can be your breakthrough tonight. I then lay down and relaxed, and my brothers did the same thing on our beds. It was about 10 minutes before we heard a bang, which was our parents entering Robbinsog. Our parents entered our room immediately. Hey, boys! We need to have a discussion about when we go to Orlando to visit your grandparents, said our dad. What is it? I asked. Did you book any for the way down overnight stops at the Westin in downtown Cincinnati, the Hyatt in downtown Atlanta, a Red Roof Inn in Valdosta, Georgia, and stay at the Mammoth Cave Hotel in the National Park in Kentucky on my credit card? My mom asked. I was saying, trying to be confused and shocked and not to give away the fact that our mom's credit card was probably hacked by the return, but I have to do anything to save her life. I did! Dr. Morcassius jumped and said and lied. You made purchases on my credit card without my permission? My mom asked, really upset. I'm going to be an adult on that trip. I think it's a birthday present I get to choose. I'm going to become an adult on that trip. I think it's a birthday present I get to choose the hotels. I said. Your father and I are going to have a talk, said my mom. Dr. Morcassius was leaving the room. Dr. Morcassius winked as he was leaving the room. The door then shut. The The next thing I heard was just a bunch of screaming at each other through the walls, and George Icato made a face that like he was uncomfortable. It's okay, George. He is doing the right thing, I said to comfort him. I just don't like yelling, said George. I know. Especially from my mom, who's so close to my heart. I know. Are you excited to stay at these hotels? You know when we spend time in Orlando at our grandparents' house for a week, George asked, switching the subject entirely because I think he wanted to be in a better mood. I am excited to stay in any hotel. I love traveling, I answered. Do you think they have pools and workout rooms? I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. Just then Dr. Cassius came back into the room. Well, we're still staying at those hotels, except I am now doing all the driving down. Thank God I got my driver's license a year and a half ago, because I really don't want to do this, but I have to, said Dr. Cassius. Anything else, I asked? Well, you see, Mom and Dad were upset because they already had a birthday present picked out for me, and they were unhappy I did it without consulting them. Which I didn't, Dr. Cassius whispered. Oh, I didn't know that, said George. They were also upset because those two of those hotels aren't high-rises. Two are, but they were really upset that not all of them are, said Dr. Cassius. Yep, I know that kind of hotels. They only like staying in tall high-rise buildings downtown, I said. Did they book a rental car yet for the drive, George asked. No, but I said to them to make sure it is red, because then I can ride with my hood down, said Dr. Cassius. Do you think they will listen, I asked. They don't have to. I mean, I just lied to them big time, answered Dr. Cassius quietly. Well, either way, it looks like it is winter. It looks like for winter break we have a busy vacation, I said. Let's just hope that nothing is going to mess up this scavenger hunt, said Dr. Cassius. Is this really a scavenger hunt? George asked. Yes, even if it is not structured like one, because we are going to become scavengers, said Dr. Cassius.